The Untitled North Texas Podcast is coming to you live from the great state of Texas. You see, this is what happens whenever the North Texas Mean Green football team finds themselves on a bye week. You have people like myself who woke up this Saturday morning, went off and had some brunch with the in-laws, and then came home and found themselves with not much else to do since there wasn't any North Texas football on the television today. So what better way to spend my time than to start the Untitled North Texas Podcast? Consider this like the pilot episode. My purpose is to pump more positive, mean green propaganda out into the airwaves. We'll see how it goes. Well, where are we this year? This is currently November 8th in the year of our Lord 2025. Your North Texas Mean Green football team is currently 8-1 on the season with an American Conference record of 4-1. Our only loss this year is to the Bulls of South Florida, who arguably are on the upper echelon of the American Conference. I mean, I don't know where you were for that game where we played South Florida. We hung with them for the first half. That second half, though, they just outpowered us, which I'm not going to say was to be expected, but they had some money to get themselves a pretty decent team together. So that being said, if we rewind all the way back to August of this year, and you said North Texas is going to be 8-1, and they're going to be in contention for the college football playoff and have a 30% chance, second place, to get in, I would be relatively pleased. I might also call you crazy because at the time, back in August, I was still very skeptical of Eric Morris and the direction of our football program, just because we're in a new era with NIL and spending. It's a crazy time to be watching college football. I don't have to tell you that. You probably are fully well aware of everything going on with college football. But boy, howdy, has Eric Morris and his protege, Drew Mestemaker, freshman, have proven us wrong this year. We're sitting at 8-1 on a bye week. Last week, Navy came to town, the U.S. Naval Academy. They came into Denton undefeated, a 10-game win streak. And your Mean Green handed them their first loss in over 690 days. Think about that. For those of you who've been around the program for quite some time, you might remember some of the other times Navy came to town. I think one of them had some like video game numbers on that final score, but North Texas still found themselves on the other side of that coin and wasn't able to walk away with the win on that one. This time was a little bit different. Other than that South Florida loss on that Friday night, North Texas starting to find themselves winning some of these bigger games. Some of these games that, if you've been around the program for long enough, you kind of assume North Texas is going to find a way to screw the pooch somehow and not be able to win it. Well, not anymore. This is a new era of North Texas football. At least I'm dubbing it that. I could be very well wrong. I'm expecting to be proven wrong. But I'm being ultra positive about this because I want to pump more mean green propaganda into the airwaves. Join the upper echelon of the independent North Texas media movement. What do I mean by that? I mean, for those of you who follow the program, you're probably well aware of what Adam Martinez over at Mean Green Nation does. What happens over at the North Texas Eagle with the Patreon. I know there's a couple of other podcasts out there. I want to give them credit, like the Mean Green Gridiron. I know it's another one out there. Rest in peace to the old The Green Room podcast. That was a fun one to listen to. So let's have some fun, shall we? This is a pilot episode after all. I didn't really put together a schedule of everything I was going to talk about. So we might just kind of wing this one a wee bit. Hang in there with me. So let's pause for a moment here. Or in my head here, when I said that just now, I was thinking of Hank Dickerson saying, let's pause for station identification. If you ever listen to the Mean Green Radio Network during a broadcast and they have to, do the whole radio call sign thing. Let's pause for station identification for the Untitled North Texas Podcast. Go grab yourself a nice beverage if you haven't done so already. I got a nice glass of wine here for me. Go get yourself maybe a nice glass of water, a soda, a microbrew if you're a little pretentious. Maybe you're listening to this in the car on your way to work, or you're at work. Maybe hold off on the drink for a little bit then. Go get yourself a nice glass of water or a cup of coffee. Hey, maybe it's 8 o'clock on a Monday and you need a nice warm cup of joe. They do say the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Put a little bit of that Mean Green Reserve in there and man, you'll get some hair on your chest. So let's take a drink real quick. Any of you out there listening, any of y'all get that Mean Green Reserve whiskey? Is it technically a bourbon? I have it in my liquor cabinet in the other room. I have a lovely wife. She went way out of her way to get it. They didn't have it in any local liquor stores in the Central Texas area. So we had to get clever, and she had to get clever. All props to her. She got it for me for Christmas, I guess 2 years ago. It was the first year that it came out. Time flies. I forget when that was. But boy, howdy. That Mean Green Reserve will put some hair on your chest. I'm not the biggest whiskey aficionado. I hear people say it's a good quality product, and I want to believe them. I'm sure it is. I will say the attention to detail on that bottle alone is exquisite and very just impressive. If you haven't had the opportunity to have some of this Mean Green Reserve, I highly recommend at least going to get a bottle. It's great advertisement if you're a proud North Texas alum or you just love the Mean Green. It's definitely good just to have it in your house. It's a good talking piece. But take a moment to look at the bottle. It's a beautiful bottle. Great attention to detail with the North Texas branding. Highly recommend it. So, your North Texas Mean Green football, 8-1 on the season, 4-1 in the American Conference. Coming off an undefeated shellacking of Navy. I always love it. It's funny when we go up against Army and Navy because it's like you're beating America in the American. You ever thought about that? You're going up against your tax dollars, and it feels good sometimes, I appreciate what those men and women do in the armed forces, but boy, when you can have a statement victory over some of these, service academies, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. You know who else is having a fun time with these service academies? Caleb Hawkins, freshman running back, went absolute beast mode on Navy. 33 carries, 197 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Word on the street, fact check me on this one, boys and girls. Word on the street is he had the most rushing yards by a UNT freshman ever in a single game. I think that's true. If it's not, it sounds good, doesn't it? I also saw John Gruden this week. Yes, John Gruden. He's enjoying his weird employment with Barstool, whatever that is. I feel like I feel like John Gruden at Barstool is probably the same as John Gruden at a Margaritaville. He's having a fun time. But John Gruden at Barstool called Caleb Hawkins a monster when he did one of his weekly film room social media segments. I'm not entirely sure what the context of that was. I saw the clip of it. He said, quote, "This kid is different." And he meant different in a good way, not a bad way. Caleb Hawkins is a beast. I will say something we might talk about here in a little bit is the NIL budget of North Texas and can we keep Caleb Hawkins? Because there's one thing I know for certain. Caleb Hawkins is going to get paid. Now, the question is, who's going to pay him? Is it North Texas? Or is it some Power 4 school that he's going to go to and probably not start? Because that just seems to be the theme with a lot of these athletes that find themselves leaving North Texas for what appears to be greener pastures. They just end up not starting the way that I think they were hoping for. Chandler Morris is kind of the lone exception in that, to my understanding. I mean, he's living the dream in Virginia right now. He's having some moments for the Cavaliers there. We also need to keep Drew Mestemaker. I don't want to belabor the Drew Mestemaker storyline. We've heard it. All of the Mean Green faithful, Mean Green Nation out there, we all are aware of the story of Drew Mestemaker. But how do we keep him, regardless of what happens this season, how do we keep him going into next season? I think part of that is us also retaining Eric Morris. My gut tells me they're a package deal, at least going into next year and maybe the year after that. I think they're a package deal. And I want to believe that Drew Mestemaker is the salt of the earth he appears to be, and that he recognizes that because of the chance Eric Morris and company gave him, he's able to thrive in the system that he was placed in. Now, that's not to detract from any of his God-given talent. The dude knows ball. He is a humble athlete, to say the least, at least from my perspective. But my gut tells me the only way he leaves North Texas this offseason is if Eric Morris also leaves and takes him with him. I hope and pray. I say I pray. I don't know. I'm not going to pray about college football. That's a weird one. I hope that we're able to retain Eric Morris and Drew Mestemaker and Caleb Hawkins going into next season, regardless of the ending of this season. I hate looking so far ahead, but it's the pilot episode, right? I want to get a lot of stuff off my chest that I've been kind of quiet about because I haven't had this podcast to talk about it. We have Indiana. We open next year at Indiana. Indiana has become a power. If you would have said this, 3-4 years ago, I would have been like, cool, easy win. Let's go get it. Not so fast, my friends. Indiana has found themselves in the upper tippy-top echelon of college football because of their coach and the deep pockets that have come out of that. It's remarkable. But it shows the, I guess, absurdity. And I don't mean absurdity in a bad way. It shows the absurdity of college football in the modern era, especially in this post-NIL era. Anything's possible. You have Indiana, you have Vanderbilt. All you have to do is have a budget and someone that can identify talent. And as long as you can bring that talent for the right price, boy howdy, do you have yourself a college football playoff contending program. Speaking of the college football playoff, how did North Texas find themselves even in contention for the college football playoff this year? I'll say defense. The defense has changed the game. This is not to detract from Eric Morris's power air raid system, as we're now calling it. It's an air raid system with a modified power running scheme to it. I love it. Shout out to Adam Martinez at Mean Green Nation for coming up with this like power air raid nomenclature. It makes sense. It really does. I think it's actually a very smart name for whatever this schematic offensive program is. But Skylar Cassidy coming in from Sam Houston State, which thoughts and prayers to any fans out there at Sam Houston State, because they are definitely not the team this year that they were last year. That program has been gutted and just thrown out to pasture. Last year, though, statistically, pretty darn decent team. You know, it's a team that a lot of North Texas fans would have wished for in prior years, at least statistically. But Skylar Cassidy and bringing his group of soldiers into this Mean Green defensive program. I saw a post from the College Football Zone showing the most turnovers forced in college football, at least as of Friday, November 7th, because right now, as I'm recording, it's a Saturday, there's games going on, so some of these stats will change, especially with North Texas on a bye week. You want to guess where North Texas stands in the most turnovers forced ranking for this season thus far? We're tied for second place with Texas Tech with 20 forced turnovers, only behind SMU with 22. So you have SMU in first place with 22, the Mean Green and the Red Raiders of Texas Tech tied in second place with 20, followed shortly by Kansas State and Southern Miss with 19, and the list goes on from there. You know who I don't see on this list? The University of Texas or Texas A&M. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of nice to have a defense for once, isn't it? We have Drew Mestemaker, Caleb Hawkins out there just absolutely balling out on offense. But we have Skylar Cassidy and his crew come in. Even with just a subpar defense, we're in contention for the college football playoff. I don't know if like the North Texas faithful have truly marinated and thought through the fact that North Texas has a chance, a legitimate chance to participate in the college football playoff. Now, am I jinxing this whole thing by talking about it right now? Yeah, probably. I don't care. It's a fun thing to talk about. You know what I've seen? I'm trying to pull up a post real quick to make sure I get this stat correct. I saw this morning on College Game Day that they were showing the percentage stats for the greater 5 teams to get in to that G5 spot in the college football playoff. Actually, I saw Brett Vito posted it. Shout out Brett Vito with the Denton Record Chronicle. We're in second place. We have the second best odds of getting that G5 spot in the college football playoff. Only followed in the first place of this is South Florida, our only loss this year. South Florida, at least as of this morning, has a 35% chance of getting that G5 spot in the college football playoff. We're in second place at 8-1 with a 30% chance. Shortly behind us is James Madison, which they've been talking all sorts of mad trash on Twitter. I don't even know what's going on there. It's comical the amount of beef that happens on X in college football, especially amongst the greater 5 programs. The one thing we have to keep in mind, guys, don't cannibalize the G5s. We have to hold our own against those in the upper echelon above us. There's a caste system, unfortunately, in college athletics. We have to know where our place is and punch up. Don't punch down. It's too easy to punch down. Punch up. Now, what's really interesting, Memphis used to have a pretty decent shot in the college football playoff, but Tulane came in and kind of embarrassed Memphis the other night on a Friday. I saw people posting pictures of Memphis, that semi-empty stadium. It's not my place to talk about Memphis. I've only driven through there a couple of times, but seems nice. I don't know. You got FedEx. You had Elvis. Anybody catch Nick Saban last week talking about North Texas on College Game Day? Think about the amount of free publicity North Texas has gotten this year because we are relevant in college football this season. This is a prime example. And there's been other prime examples that I've tracked on my own in past years, there's an absolute correlation with success on the football field with success of a university and a community that university falls within. One of the prime examples, actually, I wrote a paper on this at one point during my time in North Texas years ago, with the success of Art Briles at Baylor, which we know how that ultimately ended up working out. But with Art Briles and Robert Griffin III, that era of Baylor football not only put Baylor on the map, but put Waco on the map. And if you find yourself ever driving on I-35 between Dallas and Austin and San Antonio and find yourself going through Waco there, you've seen the growth of Waco. Waco used to feel like the middle of nowhere, and now it's the middle of somewhere. And I know some of you are still rolling your eyes and you're like, but it's just Waco still. I don't know. Take a day, go drive through Waco. It's a fun little town. There's a lot of history there, you know? It's still on the come up. It's on the come up. Denton, Texas is on the come up. Denton's been okay. I'll give Denton its props. I think Denton is probably the best town in Texas. It's not a big city, so it's in a different category, right? You can't compare it against like Austin and San Antonio and Houston and stuff like that. It's a town. It's a large town, but it's a town. Denton, in my opinion, is the best town in Texas, bar none. It is so unique between having North Texas and Texas Women's and even North Central Texas College there. And you have the square, so it has the county square downtown. It's just so unique. All of it. Like, if you're listening to this right now, odds are you went to North Texas. You've lived in Denton. Like, I don't need to say this out loud for you to know this. Denton is a very unique place. Now, what happens to Denton positively if we have a decade of success in college football? Think about it. A lot of positive elements can come out of this for the town of Denton. It'll put Denton on the map more so than it already is. It's already on the map from being that, you know, alternative, artistic-minded, indie kind of, you know, it's a haven for musicians. A lot of people say it's like Austin in the 80s or something like that. There's a lot of different comparisons there. But if the Mean Green can have a sustained run in college football, there'll be a lot of money flown into Denton. Mark my words. You'll see university applications skyrocket. You'll see enrollments skyrocket. That means more money for the university. The more students that are in Denton, yeah, the more traffic, but the more money to be spent at the businesses and future businesses in the city of Denton and Denton County as a whole. Give me a moment to cough my lungs out because these Texas allergies, man, let me tell you what. I should get a cough button. That should be a thing. If I'm going to be a professional radio announcer, I should get a cough button. All the pros do it. I saw this morning, College Game Day, Pat McAfee gave North Texas a shout out. There was this weird segment where they were talking about not only the American Conference, but just kind of the overall race for that G5, that coveted G5 spot in the college football playoff. Pat McAfee stood up for North Texas there for a little bit. If we can come out of this bye week and make a statement against UAB next week, they better damn well be talking about us on game day next week. Look, last week they picked Navy over us. Maybe that's how we beat Navy. If they hadn't have picked against us, maybe that game would have come out differently. I'm actually kind of curious. I wonder if anyone has any insight into that locker room. If they were explicitly told, hey guys, College Game Day doesn't think you're worth their time. Go out there, make a statement. I hope someone did. I hope someone did. So, what else is going on besides football right now? Men's and women's basketball, we're having a hot start to this year. I want to give women's basketball their props. Coach Burton, you're already at 50 wins here, sir. You're making a name for yourself in college basketball. You have me worried for good reason. You have me worried that there's going to be some Power 4 program that comes and gives you a multi-million-dollar paycheck and you're going to go to greener pastures because you're so darn good at what you're doing, sir. Not to discredit any of the ladies out there that are as part of Coach Burton's teams. They're doing phenomenal in this early part of the season. I'll be honest with you, I'm not the best about tuning in to all of the women's basketball games just because there's just so much. There's so much to consume out there. I got personal life. I got work. I got stuff I got to do, right? We're all in this camp together, I imagine, right? We have to pick and choose regardless of which sport. Like, what games do we want to sit down and watch? Which ones do we want to attend in person? We all have our own lives, right? So I was scrolling on X last night, and I saw a post from the women's basketball account saying they had a 21-0 lead in the game. And I was like, hold up. That's pretty darn impressive. So I want to give props. I want to give props to the women's basketball team this year. And Coach Burton getting to 50 wins pretty darn fast. He's doing pretty good at what he's doing. It's a fun time to be in Mean Green. We got football being 8-1. We're undefeated in basketball, regardless of gender. We're doing pretty good. Okay, let's look at where we are in men's basketball this year. I had the schedule pulled up here. So we opened up the season with the exhibition against Louisiana. Did pretty good. It was an exhibition, though. It's always hard to truly figure out hey, what's going on here? It's an exhibition. It wasn't even on ESPN Plus. It was kind of hush hush. But we truly opened up the actual season on November 3rd. It was a Monday night against New Mexico Highlands. We found ourselves winning 88-54. Followed it up on November 6th, Thursday of that same week against Northwestern State. We won 80-53. So out of the two games we're on record for this year, we've scored at least 80 points in both of those. And we've held our opponents to only 53 and 54 points. I would say that's a pretty good start to an unknown season. This season started with a lot of question marks. And not necessarily for a bad reason. I'll be honest, I was very hesitant. I was somewhat anxious because I fell in love with Mean Green basketball after my time at North Texas. So for context, I came into North Texas literally right after the Johnny Jones era. I was aware of the Johnny Jones era. I remember watching it on TV, very much aware of what happened there. I came in with the Tony Mitchell era and what's his name? I even blocked that coach out of my mind. What was that coach's name? Leave it in the comment section. Educate me. I know I'll remember it as soon as I hop off the podcast. But came out of Marquette and we were like, yo, this is going to be fun. And no, it was not a fun time. Tony Mitchell was supposed to be the guy. He was not the guy. So when Grant McCaslin came on board, I was already graduated, doing my own thing. But I'd tune in on ESPN Plus and wherever else the game was being broadcasted. I truly enjoyed the slow, methodical nature of that style of basketball. Defense heavy, but slow and methodical on offense. I had never really seen that style of basketball before, which is why I think I fell in love with it so much, to be honest with you. And then when Grant McCaslin ended up leaving for Texas Tech, I can't fault him at all. I'll be honest with you. I knew To my understanding, his wife had connections with Texas Tech. He had kind of, he had been at North Texas for a little bit at that point. That dude is destined for great things. That guy, that man, is a great basketball coach. He is a great leader of men. He's a great leader of just humans. Even outside of basketball, he just seems like a genuine, all-around guy. A little upset I never got to just hang out with him and just pick his brain. Grant McCaslin seems like an amazing guy, so I can't fault him at all for going out west to Lubbock and to lead those Red Raiders at Texas Tech. He's already doing great things out there. But then his protege, Ross Hodge, there in the waiting, the defensive mastermind, stepped up to the plate and said, you know what, I'm going to lead this program. Man, sorry, I'm getting a little dry throat. I'm not used to talking this much outside of work calls and stuff. I'm sure this red wine's probably drying out my throat too, if I'm being honest with you. But when Grant McCaslin left for Texas Tech, get Ross Hodge on board leading the program, I was like, all right, let's keep this train rolling. Truly enjoyed watching under Ross Hodge. And then whenever Ren Baker ended up going to West Virginia, ended up calling Rossi and said, hey, come to the Appalachia with me. Country roads will take you home, my boy. And he brought him up to West Virginia, which, man, Ren Baker, interesting, right? I can't fault him. He did good things in North Texas. He set us up for the next run. It kind of hurt a little bit when he took Ross Hodge away from us. I'll be honest with you. That one hurt. That one really hurt. I can't fault anybody. I would have done the same thing. I'll be honest with you. I would have done the exact same thing. Both Ren and Ross did. I would have done that as well. So can't fault either of them. But there was a big question mark with the departure of Ross Hodge, because that was an end of an era for Mean Green basketball. That style of play had been here for a decade. It was the end of that. So what was next? We got Danielle Robinson coming in. It was a hire that it was difficult to gauge the room in terms of you go to gomeangreen.com, you go to Twitter or X, you're trying to gauge what do other people think about this? Because I follow Mean Green basketball. I don't follow too much outside of basketball that's adjacent to Mean Green basketball. So I'm not too much aware of, Danielle Robinson's game. What was his resume historically leading up to this moment? So I had to trust the opinion of others. And it seemed overall positive. And seeing some of the off-season or preseason, what's the word I'm trying to find here? Press conferences, interviews, fireside chats with him. I heard him kept talking about how he had an emphasis on defense still. And I was like, okay, let's do this. But then he also kind of said, we might not be as slow as some of the prior Mean Green teams. I was like, all right, I'm intrigued. I'll need to see it first. I'm somewhat impressed thus far. I'll be honest, we're only 2 games into the season. I know tomorrow on Sunday, we're playing Loyola Chicago. I'm a little upset because I can't watch that on ESPN Plus. It looks like it's only on the Marquee Sports Network, whatever the heck that is. So maybe I'll try to listen to it on the Mean Green Radio Mean Green Radio Network with Hank Dickerson. We'll see if I can tune in for that one. I'm hoping. If not, I'll definitely follow it in the ESPN app and tune in on X to see what the Mean Green Nation's talking about it. I think I'll have a better opinion on this new Danielle Robinson team after the next 3 games, because we have Loyola Chicago on Sunday, tomorrow, and then we get Oregon State on the following Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, and then we get St. Mary's on November 14th. So we get a 3 road game stretch. We've had this benefit of our first 2 games Really, our first three, if you want to include the exhibition, have been at home. We're about to go on a road stretch. This is very similar to football. When we went up to Western Michigan, we went out to Army. We got to see what is this team made of when they're not in familiar territory or a familiar environment. Put some pressure on them. They say diamonds are made in pressure. Damn it, let's make some diamonds, shall we? So we'll get the Mean Green back at the Super Pit on November 20th, which feels like an eternity from now. But they'll be playing Central Arkansas at the Super Pit November 20th at 7 p.m. It's a Thursday. Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars. You're going to need to show up. Be loud. Be proud. Who knows? Maybe we'll go into that, 5-0? That would be kind of cool. Oregon State will be interesting. My brain tells me Oregon State's a good team. I need to double check that, though. I need to do my due diligence. My problem is right now, we're in that era, or that season where my brain is still so focused on football that I don't even know what's going on in basketball across college basketball right now. Like, I don't even know who's good and who's bad outside of historical precedents. So maybe Oregon State's a bunch of poo-poo. I don't know. We're going to find out together. I'll tell you what, we're going to find out together. One last thing I wanted to talk about. I posted an article on GoMeanGreen.com with the headline, Meet the 24-year-old general manager helping North Texas take aim at the college football playoff, from the New York Times. Really, it was from The Athletic via the New York Times. I think they own each other now. I don't know. It's the New York Times. Kind of cool. Here's some of the highlights from it. We have Raj Murdy, who North Texas, we hired him at 23 years old, making him one of the youngest general managers in college football. He's now 24, and he's helping guide an 8-1 North Texas team with a real shot at the college football playoff, despite North Texas having one of the smallest budgets in the American Conference. Murdy, Raj, started out as a student assistant at Martin High School in Arlington, Texas, doing everything from film work to running the scout team. His coach connected him with Houston's general manager, Ryan Dorchester, which launched his career. Now, networking paid off for him. Murdy's connections with Eric Morris came through Dana Holgerson and Sonny Dykes. Those are two pretty prominent names in college football. There's a direct quote from him in the article saying, quote, I got here April 1st. The portal started April 15th. I had to put together a revenue sharing plan and evaluate a whole roster in 2 weeks. It was like, you better figure this shit out because it's happening and the train is right around the corner. He talks about his philosophy on roster building, saying that it's about discipline and alignment between valuation and evaluation. Quote, you don't overpay. You keep your priorities and your values. If another school overspends, fine. Have a number and don't go higher. You have to be aligned from the personnel department to the position coach to the coordinator to the head coach. He talks about how North Texas only operates on a $2 million budget for its overall roster. Quote, if a Power 4 school comes in and offers $250,000 and the best we can do is $75,000, we have to be realistic. Don't overspend and put yourself in a hole. This is still football. I'd rather have a deep room than a top-heavy room. After reading through this whole article, there's so many other quotes from Raj in here. I am so elated to have him at North Texas. He seems like he's such a unique combination of business prowess with football prowess. I get a very similar vibe of like Moneyball with this, which is something I've thought about for a while. Like if North Texas can take the Moneyball approach to NIL, it's our game to lose. Because North Texas is such a unique university. I don't need to tell you. I know you know all this. But for those who, maybe this is your first time tuning in, which, surprise, I'm thankful you made it this far. North Texas we're very unique. We're one of the largest universities in Texas, only behind Texas and Texas A&M. I know we kind of straddle back and forth between like Tech and Texas State and all that, but we're up there. We're one of the larger ones in Texas, if not the nation. But we haven't had historical athletic excellence. We've had historical athletics. We truly have. And we've had moments in history where we've done great things. But we haven't had prolonged excellence, which is where the brand recognition comes into play with this, right? You need that prolonged excellence to have brand recognition. But one thing we do have is our geography. We're in North Texas. It's in our freaking name. We're in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We are a hotbed for recruiting and just for the existence of a population and culture. Outside of football, Texas is the future of culture and economic viability for the United States of America. This is not up for debate. This is what is happening. Look at business trends, both financially and culturally. It's coming to Texas. We are the future. And Dallas-Fort Worth makes up what's the tippy top point of the Texas Triangle. It's a triangle between I-35, I-45, and what is it, I-20? It makes up a triangle. It's Dallas-Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, back up to Dallas. And we're a public university. We're not TCU and we're not SMU. We are a large public university in the Texas Triangle, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, with one of the largest alumni bases that are close to home. We can play Moneyball here. We very well can do that. Now there's another pathway North Texas can take with this. If we can find a number of years of true success in football and basketball, but I'm going to use football for this example because that's where the TV dollars are truly at these days. If we can find ourselves able to string together a number of successful football seasons, truly successful, we can get enough alumni out of the woodwork. We can really get this machine humming. I'm dead serious when I say that. If you look at the statistics and the numbers of alumni that are out there and where they are working, this is also a long game that we have to remember. Like a lot of the fandom that comes out of college football is dependent on when that student went to that university. And unfortunately, a lot of the students that are in the workforce now still remember the Todd Dodge days. They remember being the freaking doormat of college football. And so you have to change that perspective and perception before you can get the fan base truly riled up. For those that remember, what was it, the 2013 Heart of Dallas Bowl with Dan McCarney, why not North Texas? Now, we all know the fallout that came after that. We all know the Portland State game. This is a different era. If Jared Mosley is who we all think he is, and I'm fumbling over my words. I think we know who we all think he is. He's pretty darn good at what he does. He's building something here. And he seems authentically excited about it. Heck, he threw off his t-shirt in the stadium the other night and joined the shirtless gentleman up in the wing, part of that whole national movement. That was wild. Plus, he did the whole Stone Cold celebration a couple weeks prior to that in the student section. The dude is about it. He bleeds mean green. So why not North Texas? I think people have thought this before. This season feels different. This season truly feels different. It feels like the proverbial sleeping giant of North Texas is starting to wake up. I think we're starting to wake up. Part of that, though, is to keep cohesion and consistency from season to season. I know we're going to lose players this year to other programs. It's just the way it is in NIL this year. But if we can keep cohesion from this year to next year, buckle up, because here come the Mean Green. That being said, thank you for watching. If you made it to this part of the program, feel free, follow, subscribe. I don't know where you're watching this. I haven't decided where I'm going to post it yet. It'll be on other places. Like I said, I think early in the podcast, go check out NorthTexasMeanGreen.com. Surprised no one else owned that domain. So, you know where to find me. I'll see you in the next one.